Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding, learning, and turning the great strategy games. Today, it's back into our PBEM Bonsai Challenge with the crafty and devious bonsai. Still on the move. Some of our moves worked out, some other things didn't quite as well. We'll talk about that here in a moment. UK carrier operations have advanced to 1942. Again, that doesn't matter so much now. Now we do have the Hermes. I will point out that in the first couple of iterations of this game, the Hermes was incredibly underpowered. Now Alvaro has changed that, where the Hermes at least starts with a little bit of pilot experience. Before it was completely worthless. Now it's only sort of worthless, but it is up to 1942. And the Brits start getting just a mass of carriers in 1944 in game terms. Hopefully, we'll have their operations advancement up to that point by the time we get them all. China's supply truck, they got 10. It's always helpful to have a few supply trucks out in China. You usually get yourself in strange situations out there, as you'll see. We did have the 4th Army Group surrendered. We'll go take a look at that. The U.S.'s 40th Division was overrun. That's not surprising. That's that division in Australia that I essentially sacrificed. I think of it as like sacrificing a pawn. We kind of had to do something in Australia to stop his momentum, so I went and cut the rail line. But because of that, we lost a division. That's okay. You know, the U.S. gets so many divisions. These are just little pixel men. If they were real men, we may have thought differently. But it's just a counter off the board. Axis, he did an air resupply. Now, you don't see this a whole lot at 91.3. We'll have to go check that out. It did complete, so well done, Bonsai. You've done an air resupply mission. We've got some no supply sources. We've got a fleet with no supplies. There were convoy attacks. Yeah, they didn't have quite the effect that they did before because we're not actually running any convoys. He's attacking the convoy lanes. Now, those would be the supplies that go out to the ports, but if we're not running any convoy ships through there, he can't sink them. Or merchant marine ships is how I should put it. UK back down to low oil supplies. He's down to, I checked before, 24. So we can still move British forces around, but as we keep moving our transports around and can't find a place to land, it could become a concern. So we'll have to think about redoing, reinstituting convoys. Let's go to the combat log. And last time we had a lot of combat partisan activity out in China. That is to no one's surprise, and also into Australia. Those Australians, have gone to back into the desert and are now fighting as partisans outside of Melbourne here, so on and so forth. Also in India, Southeast Asia. Okay, land combat at Canton. Now we held the first time, so it was this unit. We were holding Canton. We were trying to hold it as long as we could. Didn't expect to hold it forever, certainly. And he did eventually knock us out of here. Now, the first time he took one, we took two, and we held. We took two, and we retreated. Even though we had the hold on, all it does is give you another roll, dice roll to try to hold on, but the situation here was basically hopeless. Ground strike, okay. He started banging away with his air as he does, and he does a great job of it. I've never seen a Japanese player do a better job of it, of ground striking over and over to weaken units before he attacks them. The Flying Tigers did get up in the air. We caused 1 point of damage, but as you can see, he's got just a multitude of air assets. Land combat here as well, 1 and 1 we held. We took two this time and we retreated. Land combat up here. Now up into the north towards Chengdu, he started to make a little too much progress for my liking. We may have to do something about that. And we did retreat after 3 points of losses. And then we got knocked here and took 1 point of loss and also retreated. Land combat here, he just came across the river. We surrendered. It's, he came across, he attacked with three different, two brigades, which are really division size, and a full army. He did take the river crossing penalty. It did not matter. It did not matter. We can't get dug in out here, which puts the Chinese in really bad shape. Um, Okay, defender losses. So we did get the bomber group up in the air. We took, you know, four losses here. We took, let's see, going down through here, attacker losses one and one in the air, one in the land. We took four more air losses out here. We took three damage and held, then we took three and were completely overrun. But I think mission accomplished here. What, we were trying to do, get down here, cut his rail supply, which is the only way he was getting supply up here. It did hold him off for a turn, and actually, if you look at this, I think this is a small core. It could be a large core. This was like an 8, right? Now it's a 5. That's because we cut off supply to that for one turn. It slows him down at least one turn, probably two turns, probably worth the sacrifice. We did get into a scrap here. We got a land strike or a ground strike from his fifth air division. It hit the second core here, which is that. Air resupply. This is where he resupplied. So he did that. He ran air supply out here. Goes to show you this did work, right? Because he was out of supply for a turn, had to go and try to resupply him up. Land combat here. He took five losses. We took one and held. Um, we don't know whether this was 16th, 28th. Now you can see he's getting naval bombardment and carrier ground support. That's another great thing that he does. He brings his naval assets up here. They sit here and they can do the bombardment onto the land. They can also help airwise with the land combat. And then he took three, we took one, so we doled out 8 points of losses for him, but we did eventually have to retreat. That could be okay because we may come down here. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we're going to come down here with. I haven't really made those decisions yet. So that was the land combat for this time. Now, there has been some discussion in the comments. You're being way too passive. Get out here, scrap it up with the Japanese Navy. Again, we're totally outnumbered with the beasts of this game. Carriers are just super powered in this game. I'm not saying that they weren't in real life, but certainly in this game, the carriers rule the sea. He's got at least 11, maybe 12, maybe 13. I can't remember. Now some of those are light carriers. I get that, but he's got us about 2 to 1 when it comes to carriers. I could bring my carriers out here and try to disrupt this. Certainly, I could. The risk is not the initial battle. It's we use up our operation points to get over here. So we come out of the whirly gig, one operation point to get over here. We now have a range of 4, so I guess we could do it, here. We come over here, we get in the scrap with them. Let's just say it's, kind of indecisive. His other main carrier task force is out here somewhere. Now, where it is, it may be here around all of our transports. We'll have to go. Now, somehow he found our transports. Luckily, they were not sunk, but we've got a bigger problem. And that is that this would all be fine, but we've got double raindrops. And this happened to me over and over in my last game with him. Every single time I was thinking about landing somewhere, it's double raindrops. And when there's double raindrops, you can't land. It makes, it's kind of the one big weather feature is you cannot land on a hex that has double raindrops. So these guys are just sitting out here. Right now they're sitting ducks. We'll get them out of here, but there is no place to land. We can't land in Saigon. Since he knew we were bringing transports here, he came down to Bangkok. He also came back into Singapore. So all of these things he had uncovered the minute he figured out, however he did that, that these transports were over here. He started to fill up the main, what would become national supply sources if we could take them. He did not take Rangoon, but again, we couldn't land there. We can't get there this turn, but even if we could, we couldn't land there. So it's double raindrops everywhere. I didn't know that June was monsoon season, but evidently maybe it is. We could land up here somewhere in China, but as you can see, this is what you're playing when you play a very experienced Japanese player. He's already interdicted the ports here. So he's not even giving us a chance to land here. I mean, honestly, he maybe would have been smarter, let us land and then immediately interdict because then we waste those forces. But he's already in position to interdict these ports. The minute we land here, we have no port supply. They would officially, well, not officially, but they'd essentially be dead units the minute we landed. As you can see, we there's no place down here in southern China we could land. I wanted to maybe land down here, maybe in Haiku. No poetry allowed. Uh, hmm, there's just nowhere to go. I mean, we're gonna have to figure something else out. Current turn partisans are all around. We're in a tough spot in China right now. I've been in worse spots in China, but we're definitely. Whoops, that clicked back to last. Sorry. These were all partisan activities and then these were the convoy attacks. Now, unfortunately, we have not gotten any partisan units on the map. Sometimes, if he leaves big urban centers uncovered, you will spawn an actual counter on the map that's a partisan, but no doing there. Okay, U.S. took 10 and 4. Okay. China took 46 in strength point hits. That hurts. The Japanese 14, 5, and 3. The Aussies took 3, and that was it for losses. If we go out, if we go to the reports and we look at forces, as you can see, we continue to build, but so does he. He's got us naval wise. When naval ships are 3 to 4 points, I mean, that's a good 10, more than that, 15 ships probably of different shapes and sizes. Our merch fleet has gotten absolutely wrecked. He puts big capital ships or carriers in our convoy lanes so the escorts can do no good. Now, if those were submarines out there, the escorts would take them on, but he doesn't even take that chance. He uses his submarines for interdiction. There's a lot of talk about port interdiction and how powerful the Japanese port interdiction is, especially when it comes to PT boats. I mean, those weren't just not going to interdict ports. My understanding is that Alvaro has answered some of those questions and said he's not inclined to change that. But taking a big port, let's say like Hong Kong or Singapore, and interdicting it with PT boats seems a little gamey. But ultimately, the Japanese need every advantage they can get. We're going to eventually overwhelm him with the number of forces, but early in this game, that's not the case, and he can just run absolutely wild. I know people have said, well, there's no way the Japanese could have a full-scale war going on in China, invade India, invade New Zealand, invade Australia all at the same time. I mean, no country in the history of the world probably has had those kind of logistics, including the United States at the end of 1945. That being said, it's a game. Now, you want your game to be as authentic and real as possible, but there would be no reason for anyone to ever play the Japanese if we didn't suspend a bit of the logistical, hardships that they had, some of them. Now, I will tell you, as the American player, what I've done time after time, or the Allied player, is get in here to Saigon, Cameron, get on the northern part in Kuala Balat of Borneo, and you can stop all of his oil going back to Japan. And if you can do that, it's pretty much game over. So there are ways that you can counter his logistical advantage, but doing it in June of 1942 is not really feasible. If we go to sunk ships, Prince of Wales is still the only major ship that's gone down. Okay, let's go look at our alerts. UK has low oil, as you can see. We've got nothing left in the UK. Now, we have in the African bases, although we will be getting something. I can't remember if it's this turn or next turn. Uh, we've got our transport out here, right? I would love to bring that up to Rangoon. Double raindrops, double raindrops. So there's just, I mean, we can't land. It's that simple. I mean, we could land, uh, you know, within one turn. We could land down here. Those units would just die. They don't have any supply. We could try to land on this side, but again, double raindrop. It's as if the weather completely conspired against us. Tavoy, I mean, I would consider landing there, or Mole Mine. We've got double raindrops. everywhere falling on our head in India as well. We'll probably just have to take this headquarters straight back um, to the East African bases and let them sit there. With these units, we're going to have to get them out, obviously, as well. Let's keep going here. So unit is out of supply. Okay, these are the Brits. It's the Valiant and the Ramillies. We'll just put those straight down into Pearl Harbor so we don't forget about them. Now, they were using up a bit of oil, so it'll be good to get them in. You see the U.S. as we are now highlighted on a U.S. land unit, 40 transports this time. And plus the 40 we're using to get things over to Australia. So we've got 80 total. Unit has no supply source. Okay. I mean, there's really nowhere for him to go. I'm going to try to get him up and around if we can, but he's probably going to get destroyed this time. We've got some real thinking we have to do out here. Now, he's showing out of supply, so let's look at our logistics. Yeah, now it's all the way back here. We're going to have to back up here to get back into some kind of logistical frame. You can see he's coming for Hong Shui. Okay, this guy, this guy, this guy. Um, we've got Oh, we've also got specialty points for the Chinese right now. He's 17 of 30. He's 16 of 30. Okay. I think what I want to do, he's 15 of 30, but he's showing as more powerful. Interesting. Um, I think what we'll do is bring him there, him there. We'll back him up. Uh, we'll back him up as well. We're just going to have to flee the field here. It's 1.1. That's 1.3. Ah, he was dug into. That may have been a better place to stay, but he's coming. I don't want him to get doubly attacked here without us being able to respond to it. As you can see, he's also floating across here. He's got troops back here somewhere. We don't really know where they are. Um, they could be out this way too. I think we just sit with what we've got here. We'll try to get these guys up. They can get up and around. I'm not too worried about that. We'll come back and try to protect Kunming the best we can. He could move up the road as well. He's out of supply. We should probably get him up closer to supply because these guys are going to get really weak with their effectiveness if we don't get them up here soon. We've got more of that in China, as a matter of fact. Partisans, that's what we're seeing there. Okay. Um, Now then, we'll go to the war panel. Brits got, nothing to do there. The U.S. Not back up on comment points to the extent it can do anything. Okay. Advancements. The Brits now have another advancement. We've reached maximum in assault. Anti-tank we could try to take up, but eh. Um, I had this going with close support, but we're not going to build any British planes, so it just doesn't really matter. Now we do already have some planes on the map that this affects, but eh, warships, large warships. We could do one of those, or we could do carrier operations. I'm going to again do carrier operations. There, he's reached the max, and then let's do warships. Okay, those are the main things. Carriers, warships, ground troops. That's what the Brits have. U.S. sitting on 0. Uh, they're almost to 1942. Gosh, that'll be important to get there. We did jump to 43 in carrier operations. Okay, I think that's that. I kind of wish I would have stayed there now. Of course, it's kind of stuff that haunts me. Um, he's not going to be dug in now, though. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to move him back there. Um, It's just a more defensible position. Now he was dug in, so I lost that. That was stupid. That's just me moving a little too fast. Okay, let's look at the build. 41 for the Brits, 238 for the US. So we are getting to a point where we could potentially, well, for one thing, we can build a large core. if we wanted to. We're also getting to the point if we waited one more turn, we can get more air units built, which may come in very handy at some point. Soviet Union could build an infantry army. Let's just go ahead and do that. Does not matter. 155 for the Chinese. They need 180. Australians sitting on one. They can't rebuild their units. We got to try to get convoys back in there, and we will do so. 62 for the Canadians as they build. I'm going to try to build a transport, I think, or something with the Canadians. Now, we also have a Canadian infantry unit over in Vancouver that now I'm starting to contemplate using with my other British or Commonwealth forces. 180 for the Communist Chinese. Yes, we can get a new Commie Chinese unit, and we'll do that. Okay, rightio then. Well, it's time to start moving some units now. I've already moved some in China, and I did that a little prematurely. Uh, All right, so let's go move some troops around here. And really, well, there's two places of critical importance here. We still have this headquarters just sitting here. I don't really see a reason to move it. We do have that new British unit that landed out at the East African bases. I'm going to leave this here. He may try to suck us into Rangoon because ultimately, Rangoon is not a national supply source. It's a very important place on the map, but it's only a level 4 port. He could come interdict this, but that's okay in some respects because I do want to split his carrier groups into two. I don't want them all sitting together because there's absolutely nothing we can do. Um, I also would kind of like to know where they are. So let's go over here and see if we have any kind of reconnaissance on what all of these ships are. Again, who knows how he found us out here? Trial and error, maybe. But now we're completely surrounded. So these guys are going to have to get out of here, and it's a matter of where do we take them. Um, we don't want them too close to any of this, so let's bring them around just kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. Now, again, we're going to get low on oil if we keep using it. I think we use oil, one oil. No, we don't use any for the transports. Well, that's kind of weird. I thought I was almost certain we did. Okay, so these two units, I want to break them up a little bit. I don't want them too close together. But I also want them to be able to stretch and get up here as far as we can. Now, usually the Brits you bring right back into India, but I don't see any great place to put them. I mean, if we can't land in Rangoon, and even that's pretty dicey because he will immediately interdict that port. Let's just put this one here. Okay, so now we've moved the transports out of there. No longer. Um, Sometimes I like to bring the Americans into the Philippines as well because if you can control Lingayen and these places, you can interdict. If you can get air units in here, you can start to interdict all of his oil transport that's coming back to the home islands out of Java and otherwise. Okay, so we've moved them around. We're going to try to get them. Shoot, I don't even know yet. We could have potentially put them up here in Lingayen, Apari, but he would again immediately interdict those. And as you see, two raindrops there. So we weren't going to land there anyway. It's raindrops all over the Philippines. Every place we could have potentially landed, literally every place has two raindrops. So that's just not going to do it for us. Okay, the other important thing is to get these units landed. He's got all kinds of air interdiction out here. And so this is going to be real risky. Real risky. But let's try to get into Newcastle. In some respects, it doesn't matter, except, this is a little further away from his carriers. Okay, he fails interdiction. Whew, okay. We've been getting very fortunate with that, I have to say. We'll pop down in there, and now we've got a 6 and 0 that can come down here and help. We're going to have to put this Aussie unit back out here, I think. Now, the American unit has more effectiveness. Um, we could also do some bombing here. He's 19 of 20. We've got him on bomb units. Why don't we bang away here? All right, we take two air losses. He takes one. And then let's try that again. We take it's 1 and 1, but we did knock him down to a 4 effectiveness, and that's what the bombing does is you knock down their effectiveness. Um, this unit, I mean, it's only 4 of 20. I really need to fly him up here. Um, Okay, let's try to land this air unit again. I'm doing it at Newcastle. I would rather have this come in at Sydney, but we'll recalibrate these assuming he can land. Okay, he fails interdiction again. Thank goodness. It's because we're doing it a little further away, right? And I don't think his carriers can even help with the interdiction up there. Okay, so now we've got an American Air Superiority Group. Let's rename that, and we'll just call it fighter squadron, something like that. Interceptor squadron. I mean, you don't really want to give away that you've moved this off of Hawaii, even though we're going to replace it. Interceptor squadron. I normally would never take this off Hawaii, but we need all the air help we can get. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, he can help down here. He's within 6. His range is 6, so that's fine. Down to 8 oil for the Australians. We're going to have to do something about that. Let's try to move. I don't want that American unit to get overrun. We're eventually going to bring this one down, right? But let's move the Aussies right back out here. 4 and 6, not great. Could have potentially moved him around, but he's getting dug in now. Um, If he retreats, I would want him to retreat there. Let's move this American force here. Okay, and now we've kind of got our crescent. Always building crescents out here. Um, this will come down and help. As a matter of fact, we may just put it in with this, and then we've got 2 triple US units that are in there. But I think that's really all to be done here in Australia. We've now got an air superiority unit. We've got 2 bombing units. We're going to try to, bang away at these now with some of our air units, and we can bring more, including this air unit. I thought I put this in here. Into San Francisco. No, that's not what I did. Um, that's the Ramillies and the Valiant. Out here to Honolulu you go. Thought we already did that, but okay, maybe I'm going crazy. We've also got our subs that are just sitting around here. Now, usually in a normal game, I would, really come after it with the subs, but this isn't a normal game. I mean, against a player like this, you're just going to lose your subs, so no reason to do that. Let's put the air on a transport and we'll get off the subs and we'll put the bomber group through. All right, so we've got yet another bomber group. Now, it's a real question out here in Australia. It's getting thick out here. Where exactly we're going to put that? We could try to build an airfield. As a matter of fact, that's something we may do here by Sydney. We could try to build an airfield, although this actually, it's not, that's forest, so yeah, we may do something like that in the coming turns. I'm trying to remember how you even do that. Battles. I just don't remember off the top of my head. Logistics, hexes. I like to have that on there. Control. Oh, I guess I could start putting control on so we can really see who controls what hexes. There we go. That's kind of cool. Yeah, we're going to have to probably build another airfield for that American unit. And then we still have transport points left. I think it's time to bring through a U.S. commander, and we'll put MacArthur in command. We've got 18. It costs 13 to do MacArthur. Okay. 10. Sure. Let's embark him. And off he goes. All right. Santa Barbara's uncovered. Oh no. What else could we bring through? Now we can't do the Marines, but they are up to 15 of 15. That's an actually very important unit at some point in the game. We've got Astoria. Let's actually split Astoria, and then we'll take him by rail down to Santa Barbara, and then we'll put this into, you know what? Let's take this Seattle unit. Let's have him get on the transport, and we're just going to load Australia up. We'll just try to make it impossible for him to take Australia. So now I've moved off of Astoria. Let's hope this isn't the turn he decides to come after us. Now you see, we've got a Canadian unit here that we could eventually put on a transport. Um, and use it. I mean, it's just as good as the British units, almost. I mean, it's a 41 anti-tank. The Canadians aren't quite as advanced, but I mean, this is very usable. So when we get these guys off of transports, we will bring that Canadian unit out. I've been making fun of the Canadians. How dare I? Because they are going to come up big at some point. We hope. We hope. All right. So we got more American units coming. We will, absorb there and make this a triple unit, sit right here, and I would think that would make it very difficult for him to get into Canberra. Now he's going to come after this unit, balls to the wall this time. Hopefully our air can, knock down some things, help us out. This air superiority unit, he's a 9 air combat. He's only a 1941 interceptor. He's going to get torn up a little bit. You see, we already lost some points here, 3 points, but he's rebuilding very fast, so that's okay. Nothing left to move here. All these islands kind of stayed the same. Out at Pearl Harbor, we've got 7 and 30 now for the ships. San Diego, LA, Santa Barbara, Morrow, San Francisco, Seattle. Okay, okay. Now over in China, what do we dare do in China? As we come down here, we've already moved the ones to the south. Right, okay. Um, these units, we've got to get this guy, for instance, into a more defensible position. We've got a 3 of 5. He's a 2 of 5. He could move back here. This is not a very strong unit. Um, I think one thing I'm going to do is switch these guys, and we're going to try to knock this cavalry back. We've got okay, great, 2-to-1 odds. Let's hit him. Of course, we're the ones that take losses on a 4-to-1 battle. Now it's 3-to-1 though, as we knock down his effectiveness. Okay, he holds. Now it's 4-to-1. Can we blow him out of here? 5-to-1. He still hasn't moved. Okay. 5-to-1 again. And now we finally get him out of there. Wow. That really hurt our effectiveness in some respects. And now we can't get into that hex. Oh gosh. Um, let's give him, let's make him elite. All right, because we do have a Chinese specialty. We'll make him elite. He's still on hold, but now he can get that unit down in there unless we can get over here somehow. Okay, he can get over here. He's 15 to 30, so he's going to get the knock the heck out of him. Um, 4 or 5. All right, at least he'll try to slow them down. We'll move this guy up. He's a little straight. Eh, hmm. Sorry, I actually think he's singly dug in. These guys are not moving. They're doubly dug in. Uh, their effectiveness is now down because of all those battles they just won. Their effectiveness went way down. Was it worth getting him out of here? I'm not sure. Really, I think I would rather have the cavalry unit here trying to attack in than this 4 of 5 when he eventually comes in here. I'm going to put this guy on hold. This guy as well. We could try and attack here. We've got 2-to-1. Let's give that a shot. Now, I don't want to get his effectiveness down too low, though. Hmm. He's down to 92% now. Let's just leave that be. as much as I don't want to, I'm going to leave these guys kind of as they are right now. You can see he's got a 7 of 5 that's going to, I mean, he's going to hit this unit very hard. But this guy at least is doubly dug in. Again, we're just trying to slow him down a little bit. We've moved all of these guys. Um, all right, the communist, he does have something coming out here on the road. Uh, he's doubly dug in. He's not. Hmm. I think I'm going to put him back in Lanchow. Where are you going to go then? Yeah, let's put him in Lanchow. And for the time being, let's go there. And I'll leave him there. I don't want him to get triply attacked. Let's just back him up there. And then this unit, let's look at the logistics. All right, he's got good logistics out here. Let's put him up there. He can fight with the communists. Um, Gosh, we need to get out and cut his supply somehow. Um, there's just not a really good way to do it, I don't think. 2 of 5. I'm tempted to tack there again, but it looks like his stronger forces he's brought over here to the east. Um, yeah, obviously we're not going to get odds there. 2. All right, we're just gonna leave that as is. I don't think there's anything more to do. It's just tactical retreat after tactical retreat. Now he's threatening to get out and around these units. Now, luckily, when we get them back in supply, we can move them very quickly, and we'll just go turtle up at Kunming with these guys. Or, we could also bring this around this way if needed. We also have this unit, and we can get this out of here maybe as well. Um, I think that's going to do it for that. Let's go to the build queue. Um, UK 41, US 238. We could do an infantry corps large. We could try to wait and do some air because we have number of corps coming. Ground attack. Hmm. Air superiority, ground attack, air superiority, fighter bombers, 42. It's going to take 325. All right, let's wait, and then next time we'll build some fighter bombers. I think we have enough of everything for the most part. This is going to go up to 120. This is going to go up over 100. Um, yeah, let's just wait. Let's just wait on that. We already built with the Soviet Union, as you remember. Phew. The upkeep, we got to keep that on upkeep for now. Not that it's using any of it. China, Australia, Canada, and we built with the commies already. Um, all right, I think that's going to do it for this turn. Gosh, it's really disappointing we couldn't land these transports up in here to help take some of the pressure off the Chinese. I mean, eventually they're just going to get absolutely overwhelmed out here. Because we're not relieving any of the pressure. Now, usually we would have, things landing in here, we would have things in India, and he would have to have a lot more troops over this way, down this way, and you can just stalemate China for the most part. But when he's got this much territory in Southeast Asia and India, and you're not taking any of the pressure off that, that's not the case. Anyway, all right, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.